Up. Guys, how do we do number 1? How do we find x? Mariana.
Multiply the 2 or the 2 sides of the 40.
Okay, so what do I multiply?
23 and x and 23.
So 23 times x should be equal to 23 times 15. Uh-oh, do you guys notice something?
Yeah.
What does x have to be?
15.
15. Do you guys see that? Because in order for these to be the same, right, x needs to be equal to 15. So you can just stop right here and write, okay, x needs to be equal to 15. So that one's good. Yeah, that's fine. Okay? As long as you wrote down this step, I'm good with it. Are we cool? All right. What do I do for number 4? Jaden?
X plus 3 times 3.
Mm-hmm.
Is equals to 10 plus 2 times 2.
That's whole times external, or yeah, whole times external equals whole times external. Very good. What do I do from here?
You would take the 3 and put it into the x, multiply it to x and 3.
What do I call that step? Do you remember what it's called?
It's foil? No, it's not.
Distribute.
It's kind of like FOIL. Yeah, it's distribute, right? So it would be 3 times x, which is 3x plus what?
9.
9 equals?
22 because you multiply, and then it's plus 4.
Okay.
And then you subtract the 9. Oh no, you added 20 and the 4.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. 24. And then you subtract 9. Keep going.
And then you would get 3x is equal to
I'm guessing that.
No, put it away. We can do this one. Guys, help them out. What's 24 minus 9?
23, 21.
15. And then divide by? And we get? X equals 5. Tally, what's up?
I'm sorry, but I can't. Can I go sit over there? I can't see.
Is your... All right, let's do number 7. Dylan. Ugh, yes.
You're in a mood today.
Number 7. How do I do it? Sophia.
10 squared is equal to x plus 5 times 1.
Bingo. Why'd you square 10?
Since it's only reaching the outside of the circle,
Very good. It's a tangent. Very good. It's not a secant. Excellent. All right, what do I do from here?
then you would do 100 is equal to 5x plus 25.
Mm-hmm.
You would subtract 25 from 100, giving you 75. Then you would divide 75 by 5x, so it's 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would get x is equal to 15.
Bingo.
That'll say.
That was like business-like. Very good. Okay. 15. X equals 15. But yes, you should have gotten 75 and then divided by 5. Any questions on that one? Sophia, that was awesome. Okay. Oh boy.
Oh my god, there's too many letters in this.
What?
Oh, yeah. The next one, I like how she talks and explains it.
Can anyone do number 10? Xavier? Go for it.
Okay, so x squared equals x minus 2 plus x plus 2 times x minus 2. And then
Wow.
in the
Okay.
parentheses you can just
Yeah,
subtract
this
it
is
to
not
x.
going to be a good chapter for me.
Uh-huh. So x squared equals x and x will give us 2x,
And then the 2's
and then the 2's will cancel. Okay? So we'll get 2x times x minus 2. Okay?
And then, so 2x squared minus 4x equals x squared.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Oh, number 10, I just went over your test, okay? Something like number 10 is not going to show up. Remember, I will not ask you to solve a quadratic, okay? If there's an x squared, no, I won't even ask you that, something like this, okay? If there's an x squared, it will cancel out with another x squared. Do you guys see how if we subtracted 2x squared from both sides, we're going to get negative x squared equals negative 4x, okay? The x squared didn't cancel, right? The x squared, if I ever give you one with x squared, it'll cancel out, or there will just be an x squared and no x, okay? And you'll just have one x term. Make sense? Okay. Okay, so this is chapter 10, section 7. Guys, we are donezo with chapter 10 after this bad boy, okay? All right, circles in the coordinate plane. Let's check it out. So, a circle, okay, when we think about it, is going to generally start at the origin, okay? And the equation for a circle that starts at the origin is x squared plus y squared equals r squared, where r is the length of your radius, okay? So the length of r is to any point on the circle. Draw some radii for me that extend to the edge of the circle. All of these lengths in blue are the same length, okay? That is super important for you guys, okay? Because a circle is the same distance from its center. So all of those lines that I drew, which are radii, are the same length. Now, this formula that you wrote down, okay, x squared plus y squared equals r squared, you have to have that memorized, okay?
Oh no, this is gonna be such a bad test. We have a conclusion.
So, if we were given this circle and we're asked to write the equation of the circle shown, okay, all I want you guys to do is find your center. Do you guys agree that my center for this circle is at the origin?
Yes.
Right? Now, what is the radius?
5.
It's 5, because you can just count the units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes? So if my radius is 5, the equation for this circle is going to be x squared plus y squared equals
But you don't know the x squared. R squared.
5 squared. Okay? Yes?
So you're not going by the, you know how you graph things, you're not going by the coordinate. See how you have the gray lines, you're not going by those, you're going by the black ones.
What?
So on a normal coordinate plane, when you you go like this, you go by this. So you go 1, 2, see how the gray lines?
But
Oh, yeah. Okay, so Jaden brings up a good point. In this one, they're counting by units of 2, right? Do you see how it's 2, then 4? Okay, you have to consider that this is 1, this is 2, and then this would be 3. But I get what you're saying. The boxes around are like the gray ones. There's an extra tick. Go by the ticks. You see how the ticks are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Okay, that's a good point. Okay, they're going by intervals of 2. Do we all see that? Okay, also you always want to look at this number over here. Like, where did it stop? And it stopped at 5, right? So I know my radius is 5. Stops over here at -5, but my radius is still 5 units, okay? All right, so my radius is 5, so I plug that in. So my final formula is x squared plus y squared equals
25.
25, and that's your answer.
Oh. Well, this was just an easy.
All right, for 2 seconds. Got it?
Yep.
So let me backtrack. So do you see how this is a point on our circle?
Yeah.
Right? And it's around x is equal to, at this point, 4. And what's y equal to? 3, right? Approximately. Around there, okay? So if we plugged in 4 and we plugged in 3, this would be x squared plus y squared equals 25, right? So x is 4, so 4 squared plus y is 3. 3 squared gives me 25, right? So 4 squared is 16 plus 9 gives me 25. So this is 25 equals 25. Now, in the later slides, okay, I will show you where this circle formula came from, okay? But all of these points on the edge of the circle, right, will satisfy this equation, okay? They will all satisfy that equation.
So you can just use this and check.
Yep.
But look at this next formula we got going on.
Okay. Write the equation of the circle with the given center and radius. Oh, go back. Okay. So, Notice, guys, your center, please highlight all of these, is at 0, 0 for each of these, okay? Highlight it, underline it, whatever you need to do, okay? So we're still dealing with that formula, x squared plus y squared equals r squared. So for the first one, what would my formula be for A? X squared plus y squared equals 4 squared. What's 4 squared? 16. So you can erase that 4 squared and just put a 16 instead. That's your formula. We're done.
Okay, but like what's
Okay? What would B be? Emma?
X squared plus y squared equals 5.
Excellent, because the square root of 5 squared is 5. Okay? And I'll write that over here on the side. The square root of 5 squared, your squares are going to cancel, right, with the square root, so it's just 5. Okay? What would the equation be for the last one? Xavier?
X squared plus y squared equals 16 times 3.
16 times 3, which gives me
48.
48. Okay? Now, let's talk about how we got 16 times 3. Xavier, how'd you get 16 times 3?
Because you have to square 4 times the square root of 3, and the square root of square, you just take away the square root,
Yep.
and then 4 squared is 16.
So it's 4 squared times 3, which gives me 16 times 3, which gives me 48. So your final answer, guys, I want you to write as x squared plus y squared equals 48. Yes?
yeah.
So when our center is at 0, 0, do we touch the x or the y? No. Okay, it's just x squared plus y squared equals your r squared.
Hold on a second.
Isa, go ahead.
If this is the last lesson and the only thing you're finding technically is the radius, but like it's kind of unfinished business because don't you need to find the x and the y?
No. So the x and the y those are all the points, right, on your graph that give you that radius. So
What?
the next formula is when our vertex is, or when our center is not at the origin, okay? But it's not hard at all, okay? So all we're adding here are two values. There's an h value and there's a k value, okay? That h and that k value are where your center is going to be located, okay? So it's x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. The standard equation for a circle where your center is not at the origin, where h comma k is your center. And r is still your radius, okay? So r will still be the radius of the circle.
We have to memorize it.
Correct.
This is like the distance formula.
I just have
It is the distance formula, okay? Now, this is where I wanted to talk to you guys about where this formula came from. Do you guys agree that the distance formula is just like this formula? X minus x1, or x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared, right? And think about it. Isn't a circle the same distance from a single point?
It's in the center.
Right. So if your radius, if you found the distance of your radius, that would give you the equation of a circle, right? So the radius is the distance formula, right? So that's where they derived the equation of a circle. It's because your radius is the same distance from the center. So any distance between the edge of the circle and the center will be the distance formula, okay? But they just leave x and y as x and y, and they don't plug in another point. Let's see this bad boy in action. So write the standard equation of the circle with the given center and radius, okay? So your centers are now not at the origin. Do you guys see the difference?
Yeah.
Okay, so just go ahead and label h and k for all of your points. H, K, H, K, H, and K for all of your centers, all right? Let's write out the standard formula. It's going to be x minus h squared plus y minus k squared. And then equals your r squared. All right, what is h in this first problem? Mariana? It's 1, so we're going to write it as x minus 1 squared. What is k? 2. So y minus 2 squared. What is r? 4 equals 16. That is your answer.
So we don't have to.
No, you don't have to simplify. You don't have to do anything, okay? It's not bad, right?
Okay. It's just like fill in the blank.
It's just fill in the blanks, okay? Now, let's see what happens when we have a negative, okay? So remember, it's x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, right? So look what happens. We're going to get x minus negative 3 squared. Do you guys see that?
No, but you added.
So then it's just going to be x plus 3 squared. Okay? Now, the k was still positive, so it's still going to be plus y minus 5 squared equals 5, right? And then plus y minus 5 squared equals 5. So this will become your final answer. Guys, I would expect you, okay, if you want to write it out with the two negatives, that you simplify it to that second equation that I wrote, okay? I would like a plus sign if there's two negatives. Don't leave it as the double negative, okay? Now, once you do a bunch of these, you're gonna be like on the track where you don't even need to write out both negatives. You can just write it as a plus sign, okay? That's fine, all right? But I don't want you leaving it as a double negative. Are we cool on that? Yeah.
So we only use this equation when the center is not directly in the middle?
Bingo, okay? This is when the center is other than the origin, not 0, 0. Because technically, right, the other one was x squared plus y squared equals r squared, right? And your center was at 0, 0. We're actually using the same equation. It's just x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals r squared. What's x minus 0? What's y minus 0? It's just y, right?
If you were to still just write out x minus 0, you'd write that.
Don't write out the minus 0. Okay, for the last one. So this is when our center is at 0, negative 2, and our radius is 4 times the square root of 3. So it's going to be x minus 0 squared, and then it's going to be plus y plus 2 squared. Remember, it's minus a negative here.
That's what I was saying now.
Okay? And then equals, we're going to get that same radius. It's going to be 4 times the square root of 3 squared, which is 48, okay? I want you guys to write it as x squared plus y plus 2 squared equals 48. This is your final answer. Notice x minus 0 is just x. Because if you subtract 0 from anything, it's just x, so we write it as x squared. Do you guys see that? Questions? Okay? Write an equation of the circle shown. So for A, where's my center? It's not in the origin. So we have to use x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. All right, guys. What is h? H is 4. What is k? 1. So plug those in. We're going to get x minus 4 squared plus y minus 1 squared. What's r? Y.
Cross times the line.
Yeah, it's one, our radius is 1. Do you guys see that? You're 1 unit away from your center to the edge of the circle. So you're gonna say that it's gonna be 1 squared. And what's 1 squared, guys?
No.
It's just 1, so you can leave it as 1. So this is our final answer. Not too bad, right? Are there any questions on that first one? All right, I want you guys to try B, and then we'll check to see if you got it right. Try B on your own.
Does it matter which one you put as H and which one you put as K?
Yes. Okay, when you're done, compare with what's on the board and check your answer, and then make sure everyone in your group is on the same page. If anyone got it wrong, you guys all need to discuss it. Talk about what happened. Go. Now we're given the equation, we have to graph it, okay? So if our equation is x minus 3 squared plus y plus 1 squared equals 4, how do I graph that? Xavier?
You put the center at the point -3, 1.
No. Try it again.
Oh, it's positive 3, negative 1.
It is positive 3, negative 1. Because my h value, right, is 3. My k value should be negative 1. Okay, be careful there. Because in order for this to be y plus 1, do you guys agree that my k value needs to be negative? Okay, so my point needs to be 3 comma negative 1. And 3 comma negative 1 is down here. Xavier, does that make sense? All right, now take over. How big do I make my circle?
4, like,
The
the radius is 4.
radius is 4. So we go 1, 2. It's 2. Why?
Because it's like 4 is the square.
You have to take the square root of 4. So this is equal to r squared, right? So if you take the square root of both sides, you're going to get r equals 2. Yes? So now my radius is 2, so let's put a point here, a point 2 units up, a point 2 units down, and a point 2 units to the left, and draw my magnificent circle. Wow. You guys can probably draw a much better circle because you're a notability, and it'll do it for you. Some weird people outside today. No. Once we're done. We're almost done, I promise. Okay. What about B? Stephanie? Excellent. H is going to be negative 2 here, and K is going to be 0. That means my point is at negative 2 comma 0. That's right here. What is my radius for this example? It's also 2. R is going to be equal to 2 because the square root of 4 is 2. So I'm going to go 2 units up, 2 units to the left, 2 units down, 2 units to the right, and that makes a magnificent looking circle. Now, on your test, do your circles need to be perfect?
Yes.
No. No. Okay? My circles are clearly not perfect. Okay? But do you need to have the center, like, in the right spot? Yes. Do you need to have the radius the right length? Yes. Okay?